This is Zen from Zen World, and I hope you're having a great day. So today is more of just a chill. I'm doing some mystery boxes that I'm sending out to folks next week. So I'm packing. I'm doing some um, rebagging and boarding. So yeah. So those of you who are comic book lovers, you'll notice that a lot of us use gloves, and for the purpose of not putting fingerprints on our books, especially if it's not ours, right? And while I do own these books, um, I'm making multiple boxes, mystery boxes that are compiled of a couple of things: X Factor, Thor, Plastic Man. Some of them are Golden Age, Silver Age, and Bronze Age. Actually, I don't know if I have. Yeah, I have a couple of Goldilocks, Bronze Age. But yeah, let's get started with packing these bad boys. First, we have a bishop. Um, this is 288. Nothing really significant about this book other than it's a book that bishop is in. So yeah, just packing this. And a lot of these books are low graded, I would say, but you never know. Um, Depending on first appearances and even when a brand new character debuts, a lot of these books do go up um, in I would say in its worth, right? But for a lot of us, some of us just have a nostalgic feel for a lot of these books, right? There it goes. Looks a lot cleaner, right? Cool. All right. And for a lot of these books, I already went through the process of cleaning them. I have my cleaning method that I do for my comic book. So here we go. Looks pretty clean, right? It's definitely a low grade. I would say it's under probably a 2, 3, probably not even that bad. I always do undergrading in terms of like my Zen grading on my grading scale, right? So compare, but as you can see, it looks pretty clean, right? Some things that I could not fix, the scarring and things of that nature, but someone is gonna get this beautiful book. Love the cover. Okay, next we're doing Plastic Man, and these bad boys they're just epic, right? And you can see I'm being as careful as possible with these books. Okay, there we go. All right, Plastic Man has a new home. And they were already bagged and board, uh, but I I always go through the process of rebagging and boarding after a couple of months, just because oxidation and things of that nature. Usually, for the most part, I keep a lot of my books in top loaders. All right, so this is the Plastic Man. It's pretty good, right? Looks clean. Let me show you guys a closer look. Again, it's a lower grade, but uh, it's pretty cool. I think Plastic Man is like a fan favorite to a select group, right? There are people who just really love Plastic Man, and some of them who just see him as a background character. But for me, I like Plastic Man, right? I don't really see him as a Mr. Fantastic type of character, right? Just because he could stretch. All right, we're gonna we're gonna skip this. This is a really good book. Those of you who are fans of Predator, this is Robot Fighter versus Predator, right? Which is pretty cool. Some of us who are a lot younger remember this book, so that's a number 2. But I'm gonna pack in a little bit. We're gonna do some more Plastic Man here. Okay, this is Plastic Man number 12. Pretty cool. Oh, I didn't say the other one. Other one was 13. So that was Plastic Man number 13. We're kind of going backwards. And that way you guys can see the cover, the next cover that I'm going to do. Right? So the next one is 12 after that. Let me go through the process of transferring. All right, there we go. All right, it's pretty cool. I like it. And again, the gloves are just, I don't want to put fingerprints on my books. Those of you who are unknown to that process. All right, there we go. And our Plastic Man number 12 has a brand new home in this bag and board. It looks really good on camera. I'm like really impressed. And you know, it looks just as good in front of me, but sometimes when you have camera, it doesn't match up, right? It doesn't match up with what you actually have. All right, here we go. Next, we got number 11. So let's place number 11 in its new home until it transfers to its brand new owner, whoever has it in a mystery box. Okay, there we go. Cool. All right, not bad. All right, and let's flip it, make it as tight as possible, and we're good to go. All right, and just make sure, gotta make sure it's sealed because air will get into it and yeah, start to age the book more than it's been aged already. But it's a really clean book. Um, looks beautiful in a brand new top loader. Here's Plastic Man, number 11. Nice cover, really showcasing his abilities. Okay, let's bring this over. All right, all right. Let me see. I think that was it for the Plastic Man. Yeah, okay, because we have a ton of X Factor books. All right, here we go. So we have, next one is uh, The Phantom Stranger, number 41. Okay, pretty cool. Gotta be as careful as possible. Hope everyone's having a good day. Just chilling, relaxing, and just, yeah, having a good time, you know? Let me check something real quick. All right, give me a second, folks. Just pausing for a little bit just so I could check the stream just to make sure it's optimized the way I want it to, you know? Um, and yeah, we have our Phantom Stranger. I'll show you guys this in a little bit. Okay. And we're good to go with our Phantom Stranger. Okay. There we go. Good. Looks beautiful, right? All right. All right. Here we go. So next we have another Phantom Stranger. I'm going to put this to the side. In another pile, we have the Plastic Man based uh, pile, and then now we have a Phantom Stranger. So this one is Phantom Stranger number 32. So a lot of these, of course, are going out of order, but those folks who um, are fans of these characters and collecting these, you know, might want to purchase my mystery box that has a lot of these characters in the mystery box itself, you know? All right. And again, we're going to be careful as we are closing. Beautiful. Very beautiful. Okay. And make sure it's sealed. And let's take a look. Look at that. Beautiful. 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 And that's the process of clean. One day I'm going to do a stream so you guys can see how I clean my books. And yeah, I don't do a pressing of sorts. I do a sort of pressing, but it isn't the official version of pressing. So, and but the way I clean it, I would definitely love to show you guys. Beautiful. I love it. I love it. All right, Phantom Stranger has a brand new home. Okay, now we're just packing this power pack number 9. Power pack number 9. Uh, Power pack is a little bit significant because it's a book that features Franklin Richards and a lot of young heroes, right? They're um, here we go. Because before Future Foundation, there was Power Pack, right? Even though I love Future Foundation a whole lot more. Future Foundation is basically like the real think tank, right? The smartest um, youngsters, right? That are also powered beings in what is the the Marvel universe, right? So here we go. It's a little clean. As you can see, there's some pen writing there, right? But it's I still clean the book, and it's good, right? It's still good. I mean, it has pen writing on it, but you never know. Someone might say, "Hey Zen, I've been looking for Power Pack number, um, what is it, number 6? Yeah, Power Pack number 6. All right, this one is really cool. Okay, it's a nice cover. We have Mystique, and we also have. Why am I forgetting her name? She's such an important element, especially in the House and Powers of 10. Watch her name come to me like way after. Anyway, why can't I remember her name? Oh man. Let me show you guys some of the cover pages while I'm looking at the same time. Okay. This is definitely like a love triangle with Forge and our lady that I can't remember her name. I feel it's a little bit embarrassing that I can't remember her name. Destiny. Wow. Why couldn't I not remember her name as Destiny? Um, she has precognition abilities that doesn't tell her an absolute future, but just she gets images based on a possible future. Or not a possible. It's not actually a possible future. It's just images of the future that uh, she does try to analyze, and she writes in her book, right? A couple things. She's in terms of like power, like is she a powerful mutant? That's based on perspective, right? What is powerful? Now, in terms of being able to see pieces of the future, I think that's pretty powerful, right? Is it physically strong? No, it's not physically strong. It's just strong on a different level. You know what I mean? All right, let's just check something. I'm just moseying along, team. Give me 1 second. Just want to make sure everything is, again, optimized on the stream for playback a little bit later, right? Cool. All right. I hope while you guys are watching this, it's somewhat relaxing watching me do this. All right. Next, and I love this team so much, X Factor. X Factor is a team that I believe is underrated on many levels. And one of my wishes is there's a current X Factor team in the Dawn of X series, and they're amazing too. They do investigation, kind of like how this team did investigation. But I'm glad for that. How's your day going? All right. So here we go. It looks very clean in the bagging boards. You know what I mean? So Yeah, here we go. All right. And then I'll show you guys the finish. Really clean, right? This looks beautiful. Look at this. Let me show you guys a little bit closer. There goes Polaris and Mr. Sinister. And then we have Havok on the floor. And we could basically conclude that Mr. Sinister did something to Polaris, right? To get her under control. All right. Next, we have another X Factor that we're gonna bag and board, right? This one is a really cool cover because it houses both Random and Polaris teaming up against some villains. This is X Factor number 102. All right. And again, I did clean this book, right? So um, we have a match. Big Daddy mentioned Spawn versus Eclipso. I'm not familiar with Eclipso. Uh, yeah, that's a character that I'm not familiar with. All right. And this X Factor book has a brand new home. Okay. There we go. Let's seal it up. And again, the reason why you have to be very careful with the sealing is because there's already points where oxygen could get in, but if you seal it really well, then you kind of you remove that process from happening. Of course, in some cases, oxygen is going to get in there, and why that's important, why I mentioned the oxygen, is because of oxidation, right? Where the book will start to age a little bit faster, or mold will start to get in. Uh, Due to oxygen, right? Think about it like a banana, right? When you peel a banana and air hits it, it starts to turn brown, right? Think about that on a longer term scale, right? So here you go. All right. And this X Factor book has a new home in this top loader. Big Daddy said, Zen, do you read the comic called Spawn Kills Everyone? That's actually the strongest version. Oh, I haven't. What's going on, Iron Master? All right. And again, those of you who are joining, the reason for the gloves are to remove fingerprints from the book, right? And to preserve what I've already cleaned from these books. These books I am sending out in various mystery boxes, right? So for the stream yesterday, due to our storm that we had recently, one of the cables that are outside actually came down. So, you know, with Con Edison and a couple other things, they tried their best. Um, wow, that sounds pretty intense. Where Spawn gains that ability to kill everything, right? So, yeah, it's definitely something I should maybe collect, right? All right, as you guys can see, I'm being careful, and this is a different type of stream where I'm just packing, and you guys could see it, and hopefully my voice is calming, where we're just chilling and we're packing, and you guys could just check out some covers, right? No, Spawn is from Image Comic Books. Look at this cover. Looks beautiful, right, guys? Look at this. This is Havok, um, kind of going against Polaris, but we could tell from that earlier book that she was being controlled. As you can see, I have doubles of this cover. This is a beautiful cover, and this is um, X Factor number 104. I love Havok in this costume. I really do. And I wish they would return him to that costume eventually. All right, we're packing our second book. All right. I do like the X Factor team. Yeah, and I believe they may be using one of his in Contest of Champions. Can you describe the costume he has? Because I know he does have another iteration, and that is the black and white, which is mainly black, but it has stripes kind of like signaling his abilities. In Contest of Champions, does he have a similar costume as I'm describing? Looks nice, right? All right, let's move on to the next book team. Next, and I'll turn this around so you guys could. Yeah, it's the black and white one. And that was one of his earlier costumes as well, right? It wasn't until they moved on to the 90s where we started to see uh, basically this costume. And I love this costume, right? Um, the black and white one, not so much. For me, it doesn't give him enough character, right? As much as the jacket that he has. I feel like when he has the jacket, he really reminds me of like he feels like I grew up seeing that jacket and blonde hair, which really gave me a nostalgic feel, right? And especially watching the old school X-Men show back in the day in the early 90s, seeing him go against his brother and their powers canceling out was really fun to see, right? Because Havoc's abilities don't work against Cyclops, and Cyclops' abilities do not work against um, Havok. It's pretty cool. Big Daddy said, Zen, how far do you think Goku would get in power wise in the DC and Marvel universe? Well, the thing with Goku, right, is that as long as the writers keep writing, it's kind of hard to tell where he will become, right? Where he'll go. Because unlike a lot of the Marvel and DC, um, it's not usually like a character's training to get stronger. It's more or less they gain better understanding and creativity with their abilities, right? For example, in one of the recent comic books where it was the Fantastic Four and the versus the X-Men, Shadow Cat, aka Kitty Pryde, or she's known as Kate Pryde now because she's a lot older, and Doctor Doom used her abilities against her, and instead of her phasing through the air, phasing through something, he actually made her um very heavy, right? And for the first time, she never realized that her powers could go into that realm, right? Making her density, usually she's making herself less dense, right? To the point where she could phase through something. But the opposite can be done for her too. And that's really cool because and that's what I mean, right? Some characters gain better understanding of their powers in Marvel and DC rather than training to get stronger like Goku. But even though recently I have read a comic book, and I think I talked about this on another stream, where Superman was actually training, you know? And we've seen instances of Superman training, right? Of him, I think one of the instances I've seen is him trying to have a mental barrier, right? Or a mental protection to psychic based attacks uh, or psychic based infiltrations, right? Into the mindscape for him to protect himself. Let me show you guys a little bit closer. That's a nice cover too. I'm not too sure who that is, this character, but this cover looks amazing. All right, guys, we're gonna. Um, this is another cool cover, and as you guys could see, I have a lot of doubles, right? Yeah, on that cover that I just showed a while ago, I'm not too sure who that is, right? And this is Polaris versus Random. If you check out one of my Powers Discussed videos, I do a whole video on Random and his abilities, right? Yeah, Random has a random ability to counteract other people's powers, but one of his main powers that I do talk about in that video is his ability to use cytoplasm. And cytoplasm is, parts that make up a cell, right? So, oh, X20, no, X23 is a lot more um, aesthetically pleasing to the eye, right? So here we go, Random versus Polaris, and yeah, let's pack this other book. It's another double, right? So I'll move through this one a little bit faster. And again, these are for my mystery boxes. These have an old school smell. It is the smell isn't bad. It's just like it smells like an old school comic. It's hard for me to describe, right? Um, but yeah, and this book is in its brand new home with a new top loader, right? This is X Factor number 95, and this one is number. Um, Let me turn this around so you guys can see. Yeah, it's an old school smell. So anyone who's a comic book collector knows that old school smell of like books that have been in a box for many years, and it smells like cardboard, and that's how it kind of smells like just cardboard, like the smell is like melded, right? And as you could tell, you're probably like, how does that even happen, right? Process of oxidation, right? Oxygen brings particles with it, right? In terms of smells. So if a book has been encapsulated in a box, it's going to start to take on that smell, right, of the box from the makeup of what made up the box, right? So, uh, yeah, if I put something in something, eventually it's going to start to smell like that thing, right? Especially if it's going on for years in and out. This is a pretty cool cover. I'm not familiar with any of these characters. Well, this one probably looks like Havoc, but this character right here is using his abilities against him, which is um, it's pretty cool. It's a pretty dynamic cover. And a lot of the 90s covers from the early 90s, they're pretty solid, right, in terms of how dynamic they are. Look at this, and this book is $1.25. It was sold for $1.25. Comic books don't really go for this price anymore. They're more in the $3.99, $4.99 range, things of that nature. Okay, here we go. Let me turn this around, and I'll talk about this book, at least the characters on the cover, when I get to them. All right, team, here we go. And yeah, X Factor's a really cool team, composed of a couple of characters: Havoc, Multiple Man, Polaris, Guido, which is Strong Guy, uh, Wolfsbane. Is it Wolfsbane? Trying to see. All right, this cover is pretty cool. This cover has Strong Guy, right? And it has Cyber on it. Cyber is traditionally a Wolverine base foe. Now, if you look, this is not. This is adamantium, right, on his arms, which is pretty cool. Cyber also has another ability. I think his claws can give you a type of hallucinogen. So yeah, Cyber is that character that I just described, right? He has adamantium. He has on an exo scale, right? When I say exo scale, instead of him having it internally like Wolverine on his bones, he has it on his skin. So that's Cyber, right? And he's traditionally a Wolverine enemy. This is actually the first time I've seen this together, right? Now, for Strong Guy is part of X Factor, and his abilities are unique that he does have super strength, right? But and he has his super strength is really derived from his ability for kinetic absorption, meaning that if someone punches him, right, that energy that was used to punch, he'll absorb it, right? Now, the caveat to his powers are that he always runs the risk of potentially having a heart attack, right? The Now one time he used his abilities to really power up, really strong, and he tried to revert back to a kind of a normalcy of a form, and the result was his upper body was really big and gigantic and strong, but his lower body, his legs were, um, I don't want to say tiny because they didn't shrink, but they were just in that normal state, right? Because he absorbed something that was like really great, didn't know how to use the powers to its full extent at that time. And so he's kind of traditionally, strong guys traditionally, or Guido, he's traditionally always in pain. I know that sucks big time, but that's what it is. He's used to it now, so it's kind of like a, it's second nature for him. But I always wished that he learned better control of his abilities so that we've seen a better version of him, right? Or even I wish that it kind of sucks that he always runs the risk of, um, like if he goes too much, then runs the risk of having a heart attack. Now, spoiler alert for this character, Guido, is that he did pass away in one of the comic books. But we know, like a lot of comic book characters, they do run the potential risk of coming back. But I always loved Guido. And there's other characters here. Polaris is here too. So, guys, if you see a character that you want me to explain, and if I know about them, then I'll let you know. Right? There goes. I think it's Wolfsbane. I'm not too sure if I'm misquoting the name, right? And confusing her for a New Mutants character, because she could be the same exact character. But yeah. All right, here I love this cover because it houses two of my favorite X Factor members, right? Which is Multiple Man and also Quicksilver. Really cool. I like these two characters. Uh, I think they're pretty. I think they're cool. Uh, Multiple Man is cool in the sense of his abilities, and also in the sense of I just like Quicksilver because he has super speed and he's Magneto's son. I just think that's a really powerful. Um, I mean, it could be like story driven in many different ways, but I think they could do a ton better when it comes to that. You know what I mean? Um, yeah. All right, here we go. All right, let's move on to the next book. This one, is this an annual? This is yeah, this is an annual, and these characters are from Atlantis, but this is X Factor with like Atlantis type folks in it. I can't say anything more than that because I don't know more than that about this book, right? So let me. You know that character, Atma? Yeah, I don't know anything about her. Um, Let me see. Okay, cool. And this book now has a new home. All right, we're almost done with all of our books for this package. My favorite, and I'll kind of go through my favorite covers. I already have my favorite covers from today's stream. You can't hear what I'm saying? That's interesting. Um, yeah. All right, here's another one. Genoshan Legacy. Right. And here's Strong Guy, right? I like Strong Guy and Havoc, right? They just look so epic, right? They're going against. I'm not too sure who this guy is. I remember him, having like X-Men cards and things of that nature, but I don't really remember um, his name. But I think he's a guy who had some kind of cybernetic integration into his character. When I was younger, team, that used to scare me like crazy. The concept of like a human combining with a robot used to really scare the hell out of me. And I mean yeah, I don't know why that used to freak me out, and it still kind of does a little bit, but yeah. All right, so we're looking at younger versions of not younger versions, but we're looking at the previous X Factor team, which was basically the X-Men that we know, right? I know that part gets a little bit confusing, but it is that, right? This is where the dollars were, the books were a dollar. Is Sabretooth in the X Factor? That's a great question, Iron Master. He was not in X Factor, right? Because he's traditionally, in the early 90s, I'm going to tell you, Iron Master, Sabretooth is not the Sabretooth that you would see in the current comic books. Well, now they started to like pull back, but Sabretooth was a character that would just literally just um, destroy people. And when I say destroy, like kill them, like kill, like claw them. Um, he doesn't fight clean at all. There isn't any of that. Now I know in current in later comic books he was like that too, but just think about it on like a really gruesome scale, right? So like imagine Sabretooth running after you, like a character that's like over 6 feet tall and his face just looks very feral, and there's saliva that's coming from his saber-tooth teeth basically, and he's in a feral state coming after you. You know what I mean? That character is a perfect. I wish I had a Sabretooth, because the earlier 90s covers of Sabretooth is exactly who Sabretooth is. Now, fun fact, that Sabretooth actually debuted as a Iron Fist villain before he moved on to becoming a main Wolverine villain, right? And I'm so glad that they decided to move on, because I don't really see him, and I think that's I'm a little bit biased in the sense that I'm used to seeing him as a Wolverine villain, but in the early days, I didn't see him as a Iron Fist villain. That it is kind of weird, like sounding now, like, um, but his first appearance was in the Iron Fist book. Okay, here's our last book team, and this is X Factor number 67 for a dollar, right? Look at this. So this is basically the X-Men, as you guys could see, right? But they were also called the X Factor at a certain point before we know the team that we know with like Havoc, Guido, Polaris, Multiple Men, things of that nature, right? So here we have a book. And this is a different iteration of Cyclops's um, his costume, right? Then we have Beast, and then we have Iceman, but then we have Jean Grey at the top, but then we also have some of the Inhumans here, right? We have Black Bolt, right? And there's the other two characters. Well, I know his ability, which is not ability, because he doesn't have powers as an Inhuman, but he has the Karnak. Yes, yes, thank you, thank you. His abilities is just to understand the weaknesses in pretty much anything, right? Especially another sentient being, right? Which and he studies martial arts, right? Which is it's a really cool. He's a cool character because he doesn't have abilities, but he has abilities, right? He doesn't have super powered abilities, but what he's able to do can be seen as super powered, which is really interesting, right? Oh, that's Gorgon. Oh man. Thank you for saying that. Thank you, Iron Master, for blessing us with some knowledge here. Right? This is pretty cool. Oh, Archangel's at the top too, right? All right, we're packing this bad boy up, and then we'll do one more rundown and review of all the books that I packed today. And some of you who didn't get to see the beginning of the stream may have gotten the notification late or did not get it at all. And the reason was a big mistake on my part. When I streamed, I forgot to put it on public. And I didn't notice until about um, 10, 10 minutes into the stream. This is a beautiful, let me see camera focus. Oh man, look at this cover team. This is definitely 90s, a 90s cover, right? Is this 90s or like late 80s? Yeah, this is 91, around 91. Wow, this is beautiful. Look at this. Or you're used to the black and white Archangel? This is nice. It's a wonderful collaboration, crossover cover. Uh, yeah, this is nice. All right, team. So I'm gonna put kind of go back through so you guys could see, right? A lot of these books, and I'll kind of put them in order of X-Men X Factor books, and then uh, the X Factor team that I really know, right? I didn't have the ability to read these books just because I wasn't collecting comic books at that time. I was more or less like any of these books, really. I don't think I've read any of these books. I was more or less collecting X-Men cards. All right, so we have this cover. Ooh, nice. They look so good on camera, especially because they look exactly the way I'm looking at it right now, which is beautiful. All right, then we have this one. Okay, and next we have this one. Okay, I like this cover too. It's not like my favorite cover, but it just features two of the characters that I enjoy. And we have this one. Okay, and we have this one. This is pretty cool because I never seen these characters fight against each other. So Cyber versus, Cyber and Strong Guy. If I say Guido, I just think it sounds cooler calling him by his first name. But it's Strong Guy. And then we have Random versus Polaris. And for Polaris, if you don't know, Polaris has very similar abilities to Magneto. It's his stepdaughter, or in some cases his daughter, depending on where the story goes. It's ever changing, but currently it's his. He just has his daughter, right? Okay, let me try to get the focus going back. There we go. I had to put my arm so that the camera could refocus on me. And I should be putting these in order, but I'm not. And then this is a very controversial cover as well. And the reason being is because we have Havok choking Polaris. All right, let me move these. Okay, there we go. Because it kind of gives segue to some kind of like domestic abuse, even though that's not the case because she's being controlled in the book. But still, I could see it being a very controversial type of cover in our day, in our in the world we live in today, and for good reason too, right? And I actually have three of these covers, so let me just reorganize now. So we have. Oh wait, yep, there we go. Boom. I just want to keep like covers together. So we have the trio. They look good as a trio right here, right? You don't like my gloves? You don't like the my black gloves didn't come in, but these are like the deli gloves, but they protect the books from my what is it? My fingerprints, right? Especially for the folks who are getting these books in their mystery boxes that I'm selling. I just like sold a whole bunch of books this past weekend. Um, Me and my son, we just dropped off about 9 books, 9 boxes, not books, 9 boxes, right? Um, and then I'm gonna repackage these. We just repackaged these on stream. They look beautiful. Some of these covers, it's gonna be hard for me to say goodbye to. Is that Mr. Sinister? Uh, do you mean this character right here or this character? Which one? Both of these are female characters, so they're not Mr. Sinister. But if you want me to do a quick explanation on one of these characters, like I've been doing for some of these covers before, just let me know. I'll put it to the side until I see the response. Okay. All right. Good. So these books, none of these are my favorite covers, so I'm just gonna put them to the side, right? Um, Not that one. In the other cover. In the other cover, huh? Which one did I miss? Oh, right here. Yeah, this is Mrs. Sinister, right? And that kind of is kind of a lead into the book that we just saw a while ago, where Havok was choking the controversial cover, right? Of Havok choking Polaris, right? And again, the reason why it's controversial is because the two are a couple, and it kind of shows, not kind of, it does show some form of domestic violence. But we know that in the comic book, she was being controlled by Mrs. Sinister, so he was just trying to protect himself, right? But it's not gonna. If you're not a comic book reader, it might look, and you're an activist, it might look like something that should not be seen, right? But again, that's a much older cover. Um, all right, so we have the X-Men X Factor. Putting this aside. In another pile for our mystery boxes that are going out. And we have Power Pack. And I forgot to pack this. This character is like really an old school character to me. This is basically um, Magnus. Magnus, I can't really pronounce his name. Robot Fighter versus Predator. This is just number 2, not number 1, but I really like these crossover. So Robot Fighter is exactly what it sounds like. It's a character that fights off robots. It's really old school to me. Really old school. I never knew that there was a crossover between those two characters at all. It's pretty interesting. Okay, and let's bag it, give it its new home, and there we go. Looks pretty clean. All right, put that in another pile. Even though Power Pack, it's cool. It's kind of the predecessor to Future Foundation, which is the think tank of the smartest, powered youngsters on the planet. Power Pack I've never read, so I don't know if they serve the same purpose as Future Foundation. Right? I think they were just characters, young kid characters on that team. All right, so we also packed Phantom Stranger. These books look really good on camera. Let me just refocus. There we go. Pretty cool. Phantom Stranger I know nothing about though. I know this character Deadman right here. I know that character, but yeah. All right. Let's put this away. All right, and my favorite covers are the following. Oh, actually, I forgot to put away this bush. This was the first book we rebagged and boarded after my clean. It's still, it has a lot of ticks. It's been through time and space, but yeah, looks good. Looks like Bishop has gone through a lot there. All right, the last couple of books that oh, that was really loud. C. Connor 7. That almost blew my ear open. I should have adjusted that, but it's too late now. We probably have new eardrums, things like that. Well, at least I do because I had it blasted. Okay, so this is Plastic Man, a real shout out to our new subscriber. This is actually I actually like all of these covers for Plastic Man because all of his covers always showcase his abilities. So love this cover. These are my favorite covers of today's stream. Is this X Factor comic book compiled of X Factor, right, or X-Men, because that might seem confusing, but they were called the X Factor at this point in time. And also we have some of the Inhumans. Yeah, and we have Plastic Man. I love all of these covers. I love all, I think I'm on a mission to kind of collect the Plastic Man books. And I just like his character. I think he's funny, and he's not. I would always argue with anyone who says he's a Mr. Fantastic clone, right? He's not. Does he have similar abilities? Yes, but his personality is totally different. He's not a scientist. He's not the smartest person, right? He started off as a thief, right? Essentially, and he's just really witty and he makes jokes. And I think there's a comic book with him going in like in the Justice League, right? When he's in the Justice League and he hides in Wonder Woman's her room so that he could see her dress, right? And that's not the part that's funny, but what I mean by that is it's just a he's just a different type of character, right? It's not funny, but he will make funny jokes, and I see him as a just a different take on a character, right? So yeah. And he's on one of my favorite teams in DC Comics, which is the Terrifics, which is actually kind of a parody, not a parody, but offspring of sorts from the Fantastic Four, which has Mr. Terrific instead of Mr. Fantastic. And Mr. Terrific doesn't have stretching abilities, but Plastic Man is on that team, right? So it's pretty cool. It has like Mr. Terrific, it has Plastic Man, and then two other characters. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, these are my favorite covers for today's stream. Okay. I hope that this video was in some ways calming and you got a chance to know about some characters. Now, I wasn't going to do the whispering thing for the ASMR uh, just because I don't want to whisper right now. And yeah, so guys, I hope you enjoyed today's stream. Drop me a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, share with like minded people, and I'll catch you all later for the next one. Take care, everyone.